Hi everyone, so welcome back to my channel. In the last video we have completed the use callback hook. So now we have almost completed all the important topics of Reactjs which are required for the interview. Okay, so if you want to check out those topics you can just click on the I button because there you'll find the complete playlist of all the topics that we have done so far. And in today's video we are going to start the next topic, that is how we can handle the forms in Reactjs, right? Okay, so basically what I have done is I have just created this form.js component. Okay, in the same components folder I have created this forms folder. Inside this forms folder I have just created this form.js component, right? So in this example we have this form.js component in which we have just created this simple form template. Okay, so we have different input fields in this. The first is for the name. Okay, I've just created a simple input field. Then it's for the age, right? Then we have a text area, right? And then last we have a select tag in which we have the three options, right? So what is the main motive of this lecture is I just want to capture the value of all these inputs in a state variable. Okay, so what I will do, I'll just create a state variable for it, right? So let's say I'll name the state variable as inputs. Okay, and I'll name the function as set inputs, with which I'll change the value of this inputs state variable. And I'll write use state here. I'll initialize this state variable with a empty object because ultimately in this state variable inputs we have to store so many other inputs, so we have to store it in a object as key value pairs. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll just put the name and the value attributes to all the input fields one by one, right? So first we have this name field. I'll just put the name as name equals to name. Okay, value we can just skip it for now. For age also I'll put as name as age. Okay, similarly for the text area and for the select tag, name equals to, we'll put as text area. Okay, and for the select tag also I'll put as name as select. Okay, so now we have just named all these input fields. So now what I want is I just want to set the value of these input fields, right? So how we can set is we can just introduce a new function, that is handle submit, with which we can trigger that function whenever any of these input fields will change. So what I will do is I'll just create an event that is on change. Okay, because on changing of any of the input field I just need to trigger some function. So let's say I want to name that function as handle submit. Okay, I'll create a function here, function handle, handle submit. No, not handle submit, handle change. Okay, I'll just name it as handle change like this. Okay, this is the function that I want to trigger if any of the input field changes. So for every for every input field I'll just create this attribute on change event I'll trigger, and I'll put the function name as handle change. Okay, now I will copy this thing and I'll paste it for all the other input fields. Copy this out and I'll paste it for the age also. Okay, and I'll put it in the text area also, similarly in the select tag. Okay, so now we'll be triggering this function when any of the input field will change. Now let's just write the functionality inside this handle change, like what I want to proceed with. If any of the field changes, what I need to do. So now let's write some functionality inside this handle change. So this handle change will have a event object. Okay, so now what I will do is I'll just write the two attributes here. One is the name field. How I will get this name field? I'll write it as in event.target dot. So basically we have the four options. We have two text field, we have one text area, and we have one select tag, right? So I will write it like this, event.target.name. Okay, so basically if any of the input field will change, this e.target will refer to that input field, and from that input field we'll get the value of the name attribute. Let's say if the name changes, so what will happen? This function will be triggered, handle change will be triggered. So if this will be triggered, this event.target, this e.target will refer to this input field. Okay, and similarly if the age field changes, then this e.target will refer to that input field. So this is how we can actually fetch the value of this name field for every input fields, right? So we'll capture it in this name variable. I'll put it as let name equals to like this. Okay, similarly we'll fetch the value of the value also equals to e.target.value. Okay, so we'll fetch both of these attributes if any of the input field changes. Now what I want to do is I want to update this state variable. How will I update this state variable? Using this set inputs function. Okay, I'll simply write here set inputs. Okay, so this is an object, so I'll write the object here. Remember one thing, what I need to do is I don't want to disturb the other inputs value. I want to keep it same. So to keep it same, I'll use the spread operator. So what is the use of this spread operator? It means that let's say this input field changes, this name field changes. Okay, so what I want is using this spread operator, I can preserve the data of the already existing fields, right? Because I just want to change the value of this name field. I don't want to change the value of the other fields. So to keep that intact, preserved, I'll just use this spread operator with the state variable, its inputs, right? And now I just want to change that particular field. How will I get the name of that particular field? Using the name attribute. Because this event.target, this e.target will be referring to this particular field if it is changing, right? So I'll get the name as like this. I'll store the value as key value pairs, name and value. I'm putting this angular brackets because this is a dynamic value. This will keep on changing, right? Okay, so this is how we'll be able to change the value of this inputs state variable. So now there's only one attribute left, that is the value attribute. So I'll just simply write the value attribute to all the input fields. I'll write value equals to the inputs, okay, dot, and we'll name it one by one. For the first one, we have name for this field. Okay, I'll just copy this out, and for the rest of the fields also I'll add the same thing. For this age field, we have inputs dot age. Okay, next is for the text area, we have value equals to inputs dot text area, and for the last we have select. Okay, so now we are done with this. I want to trigger one more function when this form will be submitted. So I'll just create one more event here, that is on submit. Okay, I'll create one function for it. Let's say handle submit. Okay, and now just above this return method, I'll create one more function, that is function handle submit. Okay, I'll just simply, let's say if this form gets submitted, I want to just create an alert message, that is form is submitted. Okay, so now we are done with the coding. I think we are good to go for check the output. I'll save this code and I'll open the layout. So this is what we are getting as the final output, right? But before that, to get the final output, you need to import this form component inside the app.js component, like I've done here. Okay, because ultimately you know that the final output comes from the app.js page only, right? So we'll open this. So now let's just type here something. Okay, you can see in the console when I'm typing. Okay, let me just clear the console and show you again. When I'm typing here, you can see we are getting the object, inputs object we are getting in the form.js page. One second, I'll show you. In this handle change function, after all this, I just printed this console.log inputs, this inputs value. Okay, so if any of the field will change, this function will be triggered. So if this function will be triggered, we'll be able to see the inputs value. I've printed this so that I can see that is my functionality working fine or not. Okay, so if I change the value of this age, I'll put a number here. Also, we are getting the different inputs value. That means with this, we can conclude that we are successfully able to put the value of all these input fields in a state variable. Okay, so now if I just click on the submit button, you can see we are also getting that alert option, okay, that we have written in the code. So I'll print OK. I'll click on the OK. So once I clicked on the OK, you can see all the data got vanished. Why is it so? Because, one second, in this handle function, when we clicked on this form on submit, this function will be triggered, handle submit. Okay, so after this, its default functionality is it will automatically refresh the page. Okay, so to hamper that functionality, to stop that functionality, what we will do, we'll just use this event object. This is the event object which provides us another method, that is prevent default. We'll simply write prevent default here. It's a function. Okay, now if I save it and open the code, open the layout. Now if I type something here, I'm just typing something random only. In the text area, I'm just typing this, selecting the Volvo. Okay, now if I just click on the submit button and click OK, you can see the data is still there. Okay, that means we have successfully prevented its default functionality of refreshing the page. Okay, so this is how we are able to save the data of the form data in a state variable called inputs. Okay, in this topic, the main important interview question is this spread operator. They'll ask you the spread operator, why we have used it. Okay, so yeah, that's all for the day. I hope you find this video really informative, and if you have any doubt, you can just ask me in the comment section. I'll be really happy to help. And yeah, I think we have almost covered the important topics of the React.js. In the coming sessions, I think 1 or 2 topics are left, and then we'll simply move on to the MongoDB, right? So yeah, that's all for the day, and I'll see you in the next video. But before that, do subscribe the channel and hit on the bell icon for more such updates. Thank you so much.